All right, so today we're returning to the thing that I was working on yesterday that at this point, let's face it, kind of belongs in a garbage can. So this is going to be an 8200000 or 8200045 board with a short to ground on yet another rail. PP bus E85 was shorted, PP5E1 was semi-shorted, and now PP3V3 something is also shorted. And at this point, I just kind of want to take this board and, you know, we have a video on how to remove shorts from some of these motherboards when everything else fails that you can find recently posted. So let's see which rail it was. So we were somewhere. So where we left off yesterday was on this page. Let me just shrink my stuff so that I can see what you see properly. So what we looked at yesterday was this IC, USB charger detection. We need charger detection. Now, this chip is powered by PP3V3, R3VO, which sounds like Revo or Vivo or something to me. Either way, we left off over there, and that IC is going to be over here, I believe, U4780. And that's powered off of PP3V3 RVO, and that is shorted to ground. So we have to find the short to ground on that line. Now, before we get started, I'm just kind of curious what the impedance of that short is. Is it going to be something that's easy to find, or is it going to be some nightmare? So if we look, that rail shows up here. Let's see. The resistance to ground on that is 0 ohms. So I'm actually happy at that. And the reason I'm happy of getting a 0 ohm to ground is that it's going to be easier to locate that short. On the last 12-inch retina that I worked on where we located the short circuit on the board, it was that same rail that was shorted, but it was something like a 47 to 67 ohm short to ground, and it wound up being a chip on the other side. It wound up being this bastard over here. I think it was either this thing or this thing. I believe it was this thing. But that was a 47 ohm short. But this over here is a much easier to locate short circuit because it's much lower impedance. It's going to take up a lot more power, so it's going to be a lot more easily detectable. So the first thing we're going to go over here is short detection with the power supply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject 3 volts in that rail and see what gets hot. Duke thinks it's the ISL. I think he's probably correct, because on this board, the ISL, this board has a considerably different resistance to ground than the other one that we worked on. So I'm just going to turn on my fume extractor here. Fume extractor is on. Thank you to Steve Carlson and Waldemar Miller. I appreciate it. Net neutrality is one of those things where I kind of have mixed feelings on it. And the reason is, if you look back, there was this thing with the some telecom act in the 30s. So a lot of telecoms were like, I'm not gonna set up infrastructure here if anybody else can run wires too. So there was legislation created that allowed for monopolies. So this is an important part that people miss out on. So everybody says, we need net neutrality because these monopolies can do whatever they want, but what they don't realize is that the monopolies were created by shitty government legislation to begin with. So it's one of those areas where I haven't done all of the research yet. So I don't want to talk out of my ass before I do all my research. But I do believe a lot of the reason that we do have these large monopolies is government. And then they broke up a lot of those bells into smaller bells, but they require that those smaller bells then to encourage competition, wholesale their network out to others, which but at government created prices. So like we're going to inspire competition by price fixing, and then once that was deregulated, they decided, okay, we've been getting screwed on this deal, government setting prices on how we wholesale our network out, so we're going to raise the price to what is actually reasonable. And then a lot of the bells that were jumping into that business got fucked, which led to the telecom bust. And now we're at this point where there is a legit concern. There is a legitimate concern that these telecom fuckfaces can just say, fuck you, we want money, Netflix, we want money, YouTube, we want money, pay us or your content's going to go to shit. And obviously they're going to wind up paying because, they have the money to. But the smaller people are not going to be able to. And the problem is that you as a consumer can't run away to a competing ISP because you have this monopoly in your area, and that monopoly was created by, but that monopoly was created by government. So it's one of those things where it's like a government problem. A government created the shitty monopoly problem, and now the government's going to create the solutions of the problem they created. It's kind of, it's one of those things where it hurts my head. It's the same thing with the right to repair thing. Like yeah, we're asking the government to mandate certain things, but at the same time, the government is kind of what created all this fucking, like the reason that Apple can even decide, hey, we want to kick Samsung to court and claim, and one of the pieces of evidence is that they made a rectangle and we made a rectangle. Like, it's government that created this patent trolling and intellectual property trolling and trade secret shit to begin with that's being used to beat us over the head. So now we're kind of, and that was one of the arguments I used when I was talking about right to repair. There was one of these assembly people or representatives that said, why should we introduce the tyranny of government into the equation? And my argument was, well, the tyranny of government is already in the equation. By the way, what I'm doing here is I'm just soldering my positive of the power supply over to where was I? Yeah, I'm soldering the positive lead of my power supply over here to connect it to the rail that's shorted, and I'm the ground to the ground of the board, and then I'm going to run power through it and see what gets hot, and that's how we're going to find our short. But back to what I was talking about. So there's this thing where the representative, she said, why should we introduce the tyranny of government into these transactions? And I said, well, honestly, that's a really good question. Why should right to repair be legislated? Why should this be something that government gets involved in? And the issue is that government is already involved in it. I mean, if somebody, why are we still using patent legislation and intellectual property and copyright and trade secret legislation from fucking 70 years ago? All of these companies are using the tyranny of government when they say, Lewis, take down your YouTube video because you showed people where, a document of ours that shows where a fuse is in our product. Like, that is the tyranny of government. So I'm not asking, ideally, we would just get rid of the first part of the tyranny of government where that happens where a company is allowed to say, hey, you used our document, take down all your videos or we're going to fucking sue you kind of shit. Not that they said that. You get, I'm just kind of, I'm just playing devil's advocate while I'm soldering here. But yeah, they did call me, and they that's the thing. My lawyer said, they were nice to you, and they never called back, but they could easily just say, hey, fuck you, take you to court, trade secret, blah, 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 and no more Lewis. And now the issue with net neutrality is, the issue was created by the government. I mean, why are there so many regional monopolies? Like, when all those people that wanted to run telecom wires around said, hey, we're not doing this if you're going to allow other people to wire the area, why did the government give the right for a certain company to have a monopoly? Why didn't the government say, hey, suck a dick? I'm sure we'll find somebody else that wants to run wires, eat my balls, and fuck you. So I'm kind of wondering, like, and people will get mad and say, Lewis, you're against net neutrality. Lewis, you're against small. And I'm not really against it. It's just, I just ask myself, why did we? And I understand that in 2000, that there's not a lot we can do about this shit in 2017. It took damn near a century to build up all of this fucking infrastructure everywhere. It's not like we can expect people to just go and dig up everything and do it again. I get that we're kind of stuck because of what people chose to do in the 20s and 30s and 40s, but it's still kind of, it just makes me wonder, you know, it's a government solution to a government problem, and what is that going to do? It's a sticky situation because you can't just go out there and just have a bunch of providers wire up every single city in the United States and every state in the United States again. But at the same time, yeah, it's a tricky one. Like, government creates fuck up problem. Government creates monopoly. Then government needs to constantly step in to deal with the fucked up shit that, because if there were multiple ISPs that were able to wire all these places, not like one or two for so many areas, you wouldn't. I mean, I don't think you would have this shit. I think you would have one ISP that says, yeah, Netflix, you got to pay us or else you're going to get, you know, shit canned, and then another ISP that says we're not going to do that. And then Netflix would say, hey, you like Netflix? Switch over to this ISP because they're not douchebags. People would switch over to that ISP, and the free market solution would be that ISP loses customers and fuck them and their attempt at extortion. But that's not what we're dealing with. So it's one of those things where I haven't really come to a complete conclusion on it yet. But it is a very fucked up situation and it hasn't been brewing. It's not like this is something that's been brewing for the past 2 or 5 or 10 years. This is something that's been brewing since the 1930s, like from the moment they said that telecoms were allowed to have monopolies. Okay, so this is really annoying because the wire that I have to use for this is really small, which means it's going to be really easy to rip off the board, so I got to be really careful. So before I decide to start running power, actually I'm going to start running power into the board at only 1 volt, not 3. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to kind of start getting the short. I want to start getting it heated up a little bit without having to, you know, worry about heating it up all at once or thermally shocking anything. And I want to give it some time at 1 volt to heat up. That'll also give me time to read your comments. So I'm going to read your comments while we run some power through this board, and hopefully you will bear with me. So we're going to start. Now I'm going to have the current. A lot of people rage when I set the current really high, but I don't current limit. I started no current limiting. I start at 0 volts, and then I turn it on, and then I just start running it up very slowly. I don't do current limiting because it just adds another variable in here. So right now I'm going to actually have it sit at let's see, I don't want to deliver more than, let's say, 1 watt. So I got 0.9 volts, 0.6 amps. We're going to let that sit for a moment. I'm going to read some of your comments. What mic are you using for your vids? I think it's linked below. It's a DPA 4065. That's what I have linked below. Ayn Rand did a nice paper on monopolies and the problems government creates and then offers to correct. I like Ayn Rand. I haven't read all of her stuff. There's a lot that I haven't read, but the little that I have makes me want to just dig in one time on my next vacation and go through all of her stuff. It forces me to think. This patent trolling began with lawyers, and then the government stuck their noses in the tent. Yep. Knockoff versus real charger teardown comparison video. That would be a good idea. Hey, and anybody wanna? Does anybody want to chip in and send me some 12-inch retinas to see how that goes? Let's see if anybody wants to send me some 12-inch retinas to test it on. Maybe Apple? Maybe Apple will want to sponsor that video? Don't think so. The optimal solution would be government building out infrastructure and maintaining it while ISPs rent it from the government for a small fee. Well, there's that, but I guess that just kind of comes down to how much you trust government to do something right. It really makes me wonder, because when you go back to a lot of the debates that they had during when cable was about to become a thing, a lot of people were against it. There were a lot of people that said, you know, we should only have over the air for television and blah blah blah. And if if cable hadn't won out, would we even have the internet on the same scale that we do today? All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting alcohol over the board, and I want to see what gets warm. And you can probably see over here that there's this one chip that gets warm before everything else. I believe it's this one. And I'm only at 0.9 volts. I'm going to up it a little bit. Really small bit. I don't want to go too nuts here. This is a very sissy, prissy, sad little snowflake of a board. But I just want to make sure that I'm not too incorrect here with my assessment that that is the chip that's shorted. So we're going to go over this again. And it's clear at this point that this is the cause of our short circuit. This chip right over here. So we're going to see what that is. You're going to have steady hands to run the wire. Nah, I run the wire just fine. If you ever want to donate your headset to the UK, I'll take it off here. See all the tape that I have on this headset? I'm going to keep this thing until I'm dead. This headset's going to be around for a long time because of how much money it costs. How come on Jason's website he plugs iPad rehab for board level repair, not your store? Probably because he hates teaching as much as I do. It probably comes down to that. Yeah, Jessica loves teaching. I do it because people always ask me to, but it's definitely not that whole love thing. All right, so it's definitely this. So this has a little eye on it, which leads me to believe that this is the ISL chip. Let's see. Are you the ISL chip? U4600. Let's see what we have here. U4600. I just rotate this so that it's in the same orientation as I am. Is it this? Am I correct? Yep, it's definitely this. So U4600. So what are you? Oh, this doesn't look like the ISL to me. This looks like something else altogether that I don't have. This is probably a chip that I don't have. So I'm going to go through all the chips that I have in my list over here, because I bought a lot of chips for this machine. I bought a bunch of chips for this machine already, and I just went through the schematic and went through all the stuff that was screwing up last time. So let's see if I have this one. This is the LPC11U3 7 FET48. So first thing, what does this chip actually do? What's it? So this is host port micro. So you deal with E85 high-speed mux, which is E85 low-speed mux. That's going to be dealing with things like display port out, Thunderbolt out, shit like that. This is not the ISL. I do believe Duke has lost a bet. I wonder if Duke has lost a bet. Let's Google this. What is it? What do you do? All right, so you're a little micro BGA. NXP semiconductor. Do I have a data sheet for you? Is there a data sheet? Anybody have a data sheet? Is this something I can even buy? So let's see. From Mouser, non-stock to call for quote. Okay, non-stock to call for quote means I'm going to get raped, and they want me to buy 5,000 of them. This website doesn't. This looks like a dick enhancement pill website. Like, request a free trial membership in yellow and brown. This website looks like this is the website where you buy the dick enhancing pills from. No. This is the web without net neutrality. Yes, this is the web without net neutrality. All of everything along PP3v3 will be shorted to ground. All right. So without it, sites like this would be censored, slowed down, or forced to charge extra fees. All right. Let's see. How much should I give a fuck about net neutrality? Let's see. If they can get me my data sheet, I will give a fuck about net neutrality. If they can't get me my data sheet, I will not fight for the future. No distributors found. Okay, I don't give a fuck about you. Fuck you. Next. Seriously? You've got to be what the fuck? Fucking piece of shit. Man. This is some horse shit. Oh, okay. Can you bind this chip on... I guess I have to buy this chip from another country. And buying the chip from another country means I'm never going to find it. Enjoy. All right, new incognito. Well, let's see. eBay.com. Can I buy this shit on eBay? Maybe somebody on eBay has it. From China. Yeah, that's another phone call. Hey, you mind waiting another 2 to 6 weeks for your board repair? Anybody in America? Anybody in America? No? Nobody in America? Have you heard of a YouTube channel called Rewa? I have. So it looks like this IC, well, none of this shit is even remotely close to what I need, because mine is BGA, and as you can see, all this shit on the screen here is not. So these are not even close. So let's see. What if I just get rid of the last part of it? Yeah. Yeah, this is... Oh, fuck. Let's try digikey.com, aliexpress.com. Maybe somebody's got to have this chip. I don't have donors for this yet because they're all ridiculous. It's like over $200 to buy donors for this at the moment. What the fuck? I want this chip. Come on. I wonder if you need this. Do I need this? I mean, let's see. Is there anybody smart in the chat right now? Panzerfin, you're smart. You have a brain. You're smart. I can trust you. So let's see. I'm going to search for the abbreviated version again. Let's search for use. Let's just do this. Who has this for sale? Ooh, an evaluation board. I'll take you off the evaluation board and reball you. I'm not above that. Dude, I'm not above doing that. You don't want to sell the chip? Fuck you. I'll take an evaluation board. Oh, you have to buy it. Okay. How much is it? The evaluation board is no longer manufactured. This is... Welcome to the world of repairing Apple products. All right. So let's... Okay, what is this thing for? Let's see. What is this piece? Do we even need this thing? Like, can we get away without having it? I see it talks to the PCH, and I see this is for host port micro, and I see that you're... Let's see. But do we need this thing? I mean, do we really need this thing? Which is a question. It's a good question. Ask Apple if we... Yeah, that's a good one. What do we do with this mofo? I guess we can just remove it. I'm just going to remove it. Let's see how that goes. All right, so we're going to remove it. Time to go. Now, it looks like there are some important little connector-looking things around there that I don't want to heat up. So that's what this little shield is going to be for. So first, let me just turn off the power supply. No need to keep that on. Turn on my fume extractor. Kind of curious what the behavior will be once I remove this. Will PP3v3 return? Will I have a happy board? Or will it work like shit? You need it unless you're willing to reinvent the wheel. Do explain. It's controlling like you... Yeah. Yeah, this is probably needed. This chip probably matters. I gotta get donors for this. I really think I'm just gonna have to get donors and find stencils for this shit. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reball little things like that. And I wonder what the donors are actually looking at. Like, what are donors sitting at right now? I have to wait for the hot air station to heat up. So let's see. AliExpress. What you got for me for donors? 820-00045. Thank you. Oh, that's great. Thank you for all the donors you got there. Let's see. Let me just make sure there's nothing wrong with their website. If I search for airboards, tons of donors. If I search for retina boards, tons of donors. If I search for these, maybe yeah. Yeah, I hate these machines. Have I said that I hate these machines? I hate these machines. Okay. It would also need to be programmed, so the chip is just not good enough. All right, so this... Oh, it needs Apple firmware, you say. Okay, so a confirmed curved brain in the chat. One of our favorite confirmed curved brains has said that this chip has programming, which is expected. Looks like some sort of FPGA or something. So this is programming, and without that programming, it's not going to work properly. So I can't just buy the chip. I would need to get a donor from something else. So I'd have to reball this from a donor. And as you can see, look at the great selection of donors we have for this. Yeah, even if I can get a chip, I need to have a donor. God, these machines suck. Such fucking pieces of garbage. Such pieces of garbage. eBay has a non-working board for $170. Yeah, we're not buying $170 donor boards. That's not part of the plan here. All right, let's get rid of this. Ooh, the connector under survived. Beautiful. Loving my little shield. Yeah, this shit just sucks. It's like it's one thing to not be able to get programming. Fine. It's one thing to not be able to buy a chip from a good source. It's another to not even be able to find it from the illegitimate source. And then it's another after that to not be able to even find fucking donor boards. These just suck. One of the things that I've never liked about this business is that you can't, since we were forced to rely on this underground supply chain, is that you can never really effectively repair these products until they've been released for several years. Like, for example, so the newer MacBook Air, the one that wasn't a total shit stain on humanity. That machine, F me, I just pulled that piece of crap machine that came out in 2010, I didn't have screens for it until 2013. I had to wait 3 years to get screens for that computer. 3 years. I got them in mid-2000. It's such a joke. Or for the Retinas, I was able to, they came out in 2012. I didn't have screens for that machine until like late 2014. It's just sad. So this machine came out in 2015, mid. It's 2017 at this point. So this has been out for a good 2 years now. And I'm still not able to buy shit for it. Yeah, I know. You thought those were rip pads. Nice try. Nice try, Jess. All right, so I'm kind of curious if I plug in a charger, if I get anything. So I'm going to try that. Plug in a charger and see if my 3-volt rail at least comes back. Or maybe if we have nothing at all. So the first thing I want to do is see if my short has been relieved or if there are more short circuits along that rail. So, I mean, we may be getting to a point where I have to wait 3 years before I can get stuff to fix a new device. And that's just... I mean, I can't find screens for this at a reasonable price or just about anything else. So we may be getting to a point where this is not a viable industry anymore. And that would be a little sad. If we are. Okay. So it looks like we are at 11 ohms to ground. So instead of 0 ohms to ground, we're at 11 ohms, which means that is not the only thing that is shorted. So it is likely that we actually still have a short circuit on that rail. I'm just going to double check and make sure I'm measuring the right space there. But I'm pretty sure that our short circuit is actually still there on that rail. So let me just make sure I was measuring the right section. Before we continue, yep, that looks like it. It is it. So now we have an 11 ohm short to ground. So wait, Duke may still be correct. We may still have a short. All right, so let's not. Yeah, let me reconnect my little short detection wire, and we're going to run voltage in again. No point in plugging in the charger when there's still a clear short circuit to ground. At this point, I'm not really sure what I'm chasing, since I know that I cannot find the chips that I need to make this work again. At least not reasonably. Like data recovery on this crap. If donor boards are going to be $170 a piece, and parts are not going to be made available, and I have to reball crap from $170 donors, like data recovery on these is going to be $1,000. Like that's just there's no way around it. Data recovery on this crap. Like this whole board repair for $200 to $400. No, that's not happening anymore, probably. If you want your data off of this type of stuff in the future, it's going to be just... It's going to be expensive. $170 donors, man. What a business. All right, voltage... All right, so now we're going to go through again and see if we can find out where our short circuit is located. Is it possible to upgrade 2012 13-inch Retina RAM by replacing RAM chips with higher capacity chips? I honestly don't know. I know Rewa has some video on doing that with an Air. I wouldn't fucking try it. It's just too much risk. Like, let's say you have 16 chips, right? So let's say you have 16 chips and you solder them on and it beeps. So now you have a board that had 8 gigs of RAM. The customer had a working 8 gigabyte RAM machine. You put 16 gigs on. You paid $75 or $150 for the chips, and now it's dead. Is it because you fucked up soldering? Or are one of your 16 chips bad? Are 2 of them bad? Are all of them bad? How do you know? If it beeps, how do you know which one of those 16 chips is the bad one? That's not worth the risk. So if you're, I don't know if you're a regular retail customer or a repair shop asking this, but if you're a repair shop, do not offer that as a service. After you go through that, you're going to have to reprogram the BIOS. You are taking on an incredible liability for something that has kind of a small profit, lots of risk. I wouldn't bother. Unless there's a legit way to tell which chip is bad after you solder them on. Because you guys see, sometimes I pull part, you know, you see with the graphics chips and everything else. It is a fight. It is a tooth and nail fight to find working shit in this industry. To find working chips. So I would with most of the jobs that I do, I know if it's the chip or the soldering, I can figure it out fairly quickly because it's one chip. But when you're dealing with 16 or 32 chips, that's a lot of work to do. To then have to do them all over again and just, It's really something that's not viable unless you're doing it in a country where labor cost is very, very low, like $1.50 an hour low. All right, so look, I'm thinking that the short circuit is probably not on this side of the board because nothing here is... Maybe I'm wrong. Is it this? Something here? One of those little bastards? Is it you? I'm kind of wondering if it's that. Actually, I think the fume extractor is actually making air blow over the board, which is causing it to evaporate. So let's turn off the fume extractor because that's screwing up my entire operation here. I kind of wonder if it's this. I'm just going to take a look around everything else here and see. Let's see. What is the electricity? Where does that rail go to? So, okay. So this chip over here, it appears, does not receive the 3-volt line, but this chip over here does. So there is actually a credible case to be made that this could be potentially causing my short. I'm not going to feel much through my glove because I have a glove on. You tell the customer what you removed. That's pointless. Every now and then I get people that say, well, I want to know what you... they go, why isn't it fixable? And I go, because the board is dead. Well, I mean, why? I want more. And I go, well, you're missing AP LCM reset, and that is a signal that is asserted from a transistor inside the CPU that's pulled up by the CPU, and since we cannot get inside there, nor can we replace that economically, we cannot fix your phone. What? I don't understand that. Well, you asked me why it wasn't fixable, so I told you what signal is not asserting, which is why it's not fixable, and now you're not happy because I told you the answer and you don't understand it. Let's get the fuck out. There's no point. There's no going into that stuff. There's no point. You're just going into a litany of misery. You know, once somebody, like, most people really don't care. I would say it's less than 1% of your customer base that's going to go, I want to know what chip you took off, or I want to know this. But once you get into that stuff, you're getting into miserable territory. I know that Jess has gotten this, and I've gotten it before too. I've gotten like some raving 6-page lunatic bad reviews from this kind of shit, where somebody's like, I sent it in for repair and they couldn't fix it, and I got it back and they stole stuff off my board. They stole it. That's the whole. And I have to facepalm at this because you have to look at things like, it costs, let's say, $4,000 to $6,000 a month in rent, and a few thousand more in insurance, and then 10 to 20,000 more in employees a month to have a business. And there are people out there that are so smooth brains that they will actually think that I set this entire system up so that it was a scam so that I could steal 2 chips off your motherboard that cost $1 on AliExpress. It's like, no, this does not exist so that I could steal $1 and $5 chips that are on AliExpress. You moron. It's that if it's not fixable and somebody put in an hour or 2 or 5 hours of time, that's free. Free estimate, no fix, no fee. But no fix, no fee means I'm not spending the time to pick that shit off of my desk and then reball it and put it back on for free. See this chip over here? Gone. I'm not putting that back on if I'm not fixing this. So, and again, it's up to you to manage your intake so that you're not taking in those customers. I would say, for mail-in, obviously, this is much more difficult, and that's why these kind of douchebags only show up on mail-in. But for walk-in, it's your job to manage this shit, and you know which customers you can take in and satisfy, and which ones you need to say, hey, the Apple Store's on 9th Avenue and 14th Street, or the Apple Store's on 6th Avenue and 59th Street. Like, after a while, you'll know, I can help you with this, or go to the Apple Store. And yeah, if you're at a point where like you're dealing with an interrogation from somebody that wants to know like why this capacitor is missing, it's you made a mistake, you took in a customer you weren't supposed to. Move on. Let's see. 12-inch Retina does not deserve to live. I kind of agree with you. I'm not a fan of the 12-inch Retina. Yeah, let's see. You can always join the dark side and start fixing iPhones and iPads. Yeah, nice try with that. Oh, man. It's going to be even worse soon. I love how this is really just kind of like an iPad now. I mean, seriously, that whole issue with iPhones being sissy phones, it's like a $700 phone where you plug in a 7-Eleven charger and it dies. I can't tell you how many fucked up chargers I've plugged into my Moto G, and it just takes it like a boss. It's like, are you giving me 5 volts over USB? That's fine. Oh, you got some spikes of 120 volts AC in there? That's cool. Don't even worry about it. I'm a Motorola. And then you have Apple where it's like, I want my 5 volts, and if you give me 5.001 volts, my TriStar is going to die. It's just so funny that this is the direction that their laptops are going in now. I wanted 5 volts, and you gave me 5.001 volts with more than 200 millivolts ripple. Yeah. Like, such horseshit. When's the last time your PC laptop died because of this? Okay, never mind. I shouldn't have said that. I forgot about all the sub $600 Toshibas. But still, no. No, this thing costs over $1,000. No. I stand behind my original assertion. Maybe you should buy a thermal camera. Fuck that. Let's see. That's what my hand is for. Let's see. The iPad pretty much has similar performance as the MacBook these days. I wouldn't be surprised. Have you implemented the breastfeeding room in your cellar finally? No, but that is a topic for a future video. Let's see. Are you pumped for the new iPhone? No, I actually plan on doing a video over the next few weeks where I go over the Moto G versus the Samsung S7. I'm gonna present it from the standpoint of everything that I use it for, but the whole thesis of the video is you don't need to spend that much money on a phone anymore. I would go for the Moto G. Okay. So let's go back to finding the short here. We're gonna find a short here. We're gonna find, where are you? So there's a few places that this can pop up here. Why have you stopped streaming to Twitch? Because Restream sucks and only allows me to stream at 3 megabit per second. So I had to choose between one or the other. And I chose the platform that has subscribers and over the one that doesn't have much subscribers. So if we go here, we can see that there are certain areas, certain things that can be shorted. It can be this chip, it can be this chip, this chip, this chip, this chip. Some, actually not those because those don't have a path to ground. This chip, and then there's on the other side, it could be one of these. Both are the same price, but you go for the Moto G. It's a close one. Yeah, the screen on the Samsung is clearly better. It's just, it's not $400 better. But I want to go over everything from GPS to, we're going to go over a number of different things. Yeah, none of that really rings short to me. So let's check out the other areas. Let's go down here. Friggin' 11 ohm short. 11 ohm short. It's drawing 0.4 amps, so this is going to be a pain in the ass to find. Okay, other side of the board, baby. Is it you? Is this little sissy thing? Hey, it's this sissy thing. Remember, this is the same sissy thing from last time. Okay, it looks like I won my bet with Duke. I said I think it's the sissy chip from last time on the bottom of the board. Duke said ISL. So I'm still winning the bet. I mean, I'm still not going to fix the board, obviously, at this point. But at the very least, I'm winning my bet. So let's remove that piece of shit. Let's remove this thing. And let's see if that gets rid of my short. So I'm going to turn the power supply off for the moment. Turn on the fume extractor. And let's see what that little sissy chip is for, actually. So what do you do? Are you important? U4700. I forget what you do from the last time. U4700. You are... I see SPI MISO MOSI, so some SPI communication. E85CC1, what do you do? Wait, why do you say bidirectional on something that goes to a power line? Oh, USB-C power. Okay, E85CC1 is a bidirectional power line? I'm sorry, am I reading that right? Did I have too much Pinnacle last night? That's kind of weird. Do you buy whole Macs for replacement parts? No. Warren Gibbs says the chip is on Mouser Co. UK. I need programming, so nothing. We've established at this point that even if I get the chip, it needs programming, so there's no point in buying a replacement. Is this the same board from the past 2 days? Yes, it sure is. This is that same. Allows injecting power over CC lines. Okay, all right. Injecting power over CC lines. All right. This is why I'm happy I have one person in the chat that is a bona fide curved brain. I don't deserve people like Panzerfin in my chat. All right, so Michael Anthony says U4700 is the eBay charger detection IC. Yeah, BPPD detection. Bad botched power delivery detection. Bad botched power delivery detection 1. Then we got bad botched power delivery V connection. So this detects bad botched power delivery. That's pretty. This is what I'm getting from BPPD. You always have to kind of guess what these acronyms mean. Let's take a look while I'm waiting for the hot air station to heat up on what Google has to say on what this chip is for. What does Google have to say? I think I actually bought this one. So in terms of finding a data sheet, that seems like it's... Data sheet is not happening, I don't think. Or is it? Eh? Data sheet? Ooh, data sheet. Are you a real data sheet, or is this like... Oh, it's one of those shit sites again. Is this a real data sheet? Start? No, that's a bush. What is this? Oh, you're fucking with me. That's a capacitor. What the? Yeah, this is dumb. All right, that's like a penis pills website right there. How about you? No, you're the one that led me to that shit website to begin with. Data sheet, yeah. The chip he dropped was definitely dead. Damn straight. Why don't these laptops have a fuse that blows when you plug in a knockoff charger? They do, actually. Would you do a real-life video about alimony and all that stuff? How is a man supposed to protect his wealth and still have relationships with women nowadays? Don't get married until they repeal alimony laws. Very simple. That can be... That's... Okay, so we're not finding a data sheet for this, so we might as well just have fun and repeal it. So let's... Now, that chip is located next to some really important stuff over here that I don't want to fuck up. And also located next to this stuff over here. So we're going to go back to our nice trusty shield. And so I'm going to put my Sloman shield over all those chips so I don't screw them up. So we've got the Sloman shield. Demonetize me, I dare you. I fucking dare you. Comment me, Sloman. Okay, so we're going to put our nice Sloman shield over that. Couldn't a knockoff still perform as well as the real one? Not these ones. The thing is, it's always a race to the bottom. So on eBay, the way that eBay culture works is people buy whatever is the cheapest. Even if that product is going to blow their fucking shit to kingdom come, if it's 1 cent cheaper, they will buy it. I know this based on years of selling crap on eBay. I used to sell like the good version and the crap version, and my crap listing would literally say it's crap, and people would still buy it because it was 1 cent cheaper. The crap listing would link to the good listing. So it's a race to the bottom. So if you can have a charger that at least 50% of the time doesn't blow shit up, you're good. Does freeze spray work better than alcohol? In my opinion, freeze spray works almost the same, except you're just paying more money for it. Aren't there thermal shield blocks you can buy for $1? Why would I buy a thermal shield when I have 90 motherboards behind me with these little shields on them that are free? I feel like there's this hang-up that people have with wanting to do things a certain way because they feel like it's proper, when in reality what that does is it kind of slows down the progress. So, for example, let's just say you're just getting into this in the beginning. You kind of have a workflow and you build up this momentum. You build up a momentum over time when you build up momentum when you start doing anything. So it's kind of like a train. Like it takes a little bit of time, to get up to top speed. But once it gets to top speed, it's really going. And you need to do that with business. You need to do that with any of these things that you're learning. So if I say, okay, I think this is the problem with this board, but I have to wait 2 weeks to get a part to confirm it. Like 2 weeks later, you're not going to be as excited about the problem. You're not going to remember what your thought process was. You're not going to be invested in it. And then you keep having these starts and stops and starts and stops, and that really discourages people. Whereas when you can just get to work with what's available, like for example, in the beginning, I didn't have magnet wire, so I said, okay, fuck, I need to run a jumper wire. What do I do? Hey, there's a broken battery. I bet there's wire in there. And then I ripped it out, and then I ran my wire, and it worked. So now I kept my train of thought. I got my confidence from making something work again, and that's important. You got to keep your confidence level high so you don't give up on new things that you're trying out. And then later on, I figured out, okay, let me buy this magnet wire and crap so I can do everything professionally. Same thing here. I need a shield. I could wait a week and a half or 2 weeks to buy a shield, or I can go, hey, I have 90 boards behind me with shields on them. Let me pop them off and use them here. And I like my little Sloman shield. I think it's a lovely little Sloman. So let's see if my short circuit is still present, and it looks like we are still drawing 0.3 amps, which means that there are more chips that are shorted on this board on that same rail. This is sad. So let's just see if there's any solder blobs there that I'm missing. So I turned the power supply off. Let me just make sure that there's no pins touching or anything like that before we continue forward. If the stuff that's around you works, then just use it. Don't waste time trying to become the most professional. Stop throwing things. Never. I like throwing things. The only thing I like more than throwing things is wicking things. Just in case Jess is watching, we have to do this. Just in case she's watching. Not this time. Not with a micro pencil. Wicking with a micro pencil is a little bit too trolly for me, even for me. So, let's go back to our injection. 0.73 volts. And let's see what else is going to be there. Why are we talking about Stalin? All right, so what else on this board is going to be running along that rail? So on the bottom of the board, that's the only chipset that runs along that rail, U4700, right? And we've repealed U4700, so that can no longer be the cause of our short. But on the top side of the board, actually, wait, I just clicked away from it. Okay, I lied. On the bottom of the board, my bad. I lied. Okay, so there's this other chip over here. There's that one. There's this one. Duke may still be right yet. All right. Is any of that stuff shorted? Is it this little transistor over here? No. Probably not you. Is it you? See, each time I take off a shorted component, it's using up less and less power, which is why it's going to be harder and harder to find what's actually shorted, because we have less and less heat to work with. Panzerfin says I would look around what's generating the power rail. It's probably a good idea at this point. Increase the amps. Oh, the amps is not limited. I don't limit amps. I only limit voltage. I started at 0 volts and I slowly turn the voltage up from there. So I limit currents by starting at the lowest voltage, but I never limit amps on my power supply when I'm doing this. I don't start out at anything high in volts. So, this is turning out to be a pretty crappy series of videos because they're all just failures. They're just constant failures. And sadness revolving around the same fucked up motherboard. All right, let's go back to this side. Maybe we'll see something on this side that gives us some hope. Okay, where was I? How much are we going to take off here? Let's see. How much are we going to take off at this point? Let's see. Duke's going to wind up being right, isn't he? That bastard. Is he? I don't see PP3V. Oh, yeah, it does. Pin 51. All right, fine. Let's entertain the fact that Duke may be correct. Let's look over at my ISL. All right, so where are we? We are over here. Not getting married is not enough nowadays. Courts can consider you married just because you were living together. She may lie to you. She was on pill, condom. May break. You know, you end up paying. Here's the thing. Try being careful about the people that you sleep with. You know how I was... Okay, here's the funny thing. So, you know... Fuck. Besides the fact that Duke was probably right and it was the ISL. God damn it. Okay, so it was everything but the ISL for a while. The 0 ohm short was caused by other shit. We got ourselves down to 11 ohms, and now it's the ISL. I say I owe Duke 50-50. But yes, so when I talk about all that stuff on being very picky about who I choose as clients, and I feel like I'm more picky on who I take in as a customer as half the chat is on who they fuck. I mean, be more demanding of that you get a high-quality person. Because there's this concept that I firmly disagree with, that people just change like immediately. Like, you know, they were this amazing, virtuous, kind, beautiful human being, and then all of a sudden they became a nightmare. And I don't buy that. I think that pieces of shit are pieces of shit from the beginning, and you just tell yourself that they're not a piece of shit because you want to fuck them, or because you want to feel good, or because you want security, or because you just like having company, or whatever, or because they talk you up, or whatever it is. I think that we purposely choose to avoid the red flags just because we want to keep feeling that endorphin go through our head. Stop doing that. I mean, Like, I want you to discriminate against the people that you date the same way that I discriminate against customers that are going to file chargebacks. Like, the eye that that eye that I use when I'm trying to figure out, are you going to file a chargeback, is the same eye that I use when I'm about to date somebody. Like, are you going to file a chargeback on our marriage? Are you going to ask for alimony? Are you going to fuck up my life? Are you going to, like, claim you're on birth control? And whoops. And even with birth control, I mean, I just don't understand why men trust that. How many men here take my vitamins? How many times have you forgotten to take a vitamin in the morning? Birth control is the same way. You can forget to take your birth control. Because it's not like women are this magic species that never forget to take shit, you know? You forget to take your vitamins the same way that women will often forget to take their birth control. And hell, if I'm not trusting shit to that. Like, I've been with women before that said, oh, no, you don't have to do that, I'm on the pill. And it's like, no, I do. No, I do. No, I'm wearing a condom anyway. No, nice try. No. Absolutely not. I don't give a fuck what pill you say you're on. I'm not trusting the next 20 years of my life and fucking all of my money and my time and my sanity to your memory. And that's not, that doesn't go for a woman. That would go, you know, this is a specific woman. That goes for everybody. I mean, that's a lot of trust to have. Scientists say vitamins don't work and are a waste of money. That's besides the point. Do not get married without a prenup. No, the prenups are only as strong as the court. The court can easily decide to say, no, fuck your prenup, and you're screwed. By the way, do you guys see how there's some nasty stuff around this cap over here? Some discoloration? Makes me wonder. Are you going to make 400 today? No. Start discriminating. Start asking yourself, why do you like this person? Oh, they're nice, and they're kind, and they're sweet. No, fuck all that shit. What do they stand for in the world? What are they doing to make the world a better place? What do they believe in? What do they wake up for every day? LOL, I like to travel, and I like to eat, and I like to have fun. And it's like, no. That's not good enough. No, what do you stand for in the world? What are you trying to do to make the world a better place? What do you think, like, you know, what are you trying to do with your life to make it worth something? And fuck you, Duke. You win. I cave. Do I get at least some points for the fact that there were multiple shorts? Do I at least get some points for the fact that that was not the only chip that was shorted? Okay, Duke was correct. This is a nasty board. But you get the point here. It's like, I see so many people that just, when I ask them, why are you seeing this person? The answers they give me are just complete and utter shit. They are so fucking bad. There are so many people that base their life around just this crap, and it's like, you didn't know this person at all. No, I did. They were nice, and they like to travel, and they like to go out and eat, and it's like, well, yeah, I like to travel to work too, and yes, I like to eat so I don't die, and yes, if somebody buys me a $90 dinner, I will eat it. You know, this does not define a human being. There's more to a person than this shit, and you need to dig and you need to fucking find it before you decide that you're going to spend your life with somebody. But what do I know? I'm a board repairman. Duke wins. Nitrocaster comes in just in time. Great. The whole Eastern Bloc is going to come in and troll me now. The whole Eastern Bloc is going to come in and say, you were wrong. See that, you asshole? And I will still say, only half. This was an 11 ohm short. My short was still caused by other shit that was 0 ohms. But man, okay, so at the very least, the balls that decided to blow are the ones on the outside, for those of you who are paying attention. What do you stand for? Well, I like helping people who would not be helped by anybody else. I like solving problems that other people have not bothered to solve. I believe in universality. I believe in personal accountability and responsibility. And I want to make the world a better place through helping as many people as I can. And this is one of the ways that I do it. In my 30s, I'm going to do it through some other way. But how many hundreds of thousands of these products are out there being used by people rather than sitting in a landfill because this channel exists or because I... You know, how many studios have working gear that wouldn't have working gear if I wasn't willing to try and solve problems other people weren't when I was 19 and 20? You know, those are the things that I like, and that's what I look for when I get a job. It's not just, you know, do I like the hours or do I like the soldering and that shit. That has nothing to do with it. For me, it's am I accomplishing what I want to accomplish in the world through that job? So here, I'm solving problems other people are not solving. Check. I am helping people that otherwise would not be helped. Check. And I'm also making good money doing it. But it's yeah, like, what do you stand for in the world? What do you, you know? Like, when you get a call from Kilpatrick and Townsend, and your own attorney tells you, hey, you really should probably just delete your video that they asked you to delete, and if they ask you to delete other ones, you should just delete it because they were nice enough to call you, rather than just fuck you out the gate like they do everybody else. You know, what do you do? Do you say, I'm not going to delete my shit because I stand for something in the world and I believe in what I'm doing? Or do you hit the delete button like a bitch? Like, and I'm not saying that I'm that great a person, or that I stand for the best things in the world, but I stand for something, and I'd like to find somebody that stands for something as well, rather than, you know, I like to travel, and I like to eat food, and I like to shop, and I like watching TV with my friends, and I like Netflix, and it's like, no, I'm not interested in you basic whatevers. Gonna get demonetized if I finish that thought. But yeah. What? And that's the thing. A lot of people will see a girl that's kind of hot, that's kind of into them, and sometimes, or a guy, and they'll be like, you know, why do you like him? Oh, well, he was nice, and it's like, okay, so is like that doesn't count though. Nice doesn't mean you stand. Like, what does nice stand for? What does nice stand for? What does nice get done? How does nice change the world? Because you can change the world while being nice, but how does nice do anything for society? What are you, like, you can be a nice person, you can be a kind person, and you can love your Netflix, and you can love chilling and LOLing and all this other crap that you see on online dating websites, but you could be all those things and be an absolute fucking waste of society's resources. You can be nice, kind, polite, and still be a fundamental waste of oxygen. So just think about these things before you wind up marrying somebody or fucking somebody that you probably shouldn't be spending any time with at all. There's a lot more to it than just they were nice and they were hot and they opened the door for me or they complimented me. Or no. Fuck that. That's all superficial. None of that stuff matters. None of that stuff does anything, and you're not going to be attracted to that long term. And if you have low standards, then your partner is going to notice that you have low standards, and then they're going to feel insecure about themselves because they realize that you have low standards, and if you have no standards, then fuck, what does that mean for me? And then they're going to want to find somebody that actually has standards to reaffirm to themselves that they have value, which is how you get partners that cheat on you. It's all because you went for the easy shit in the beginning. We can't teach any of this in public school. We must continue having people memorize dates until their eyes glaze over after 13 years of misery. Ah, yes. It's much more important. Much more important. Where was I? The ISL. So is it worth wasting an ISL on this board? I don't think so. I think putting an ISL on this board is a total waste. Gonna fix anything this week? Not at this rate. Most girls won't tell you their innermost workings and thoughts on the first date. Although that's the thing. I mean, it's your job to ask difficult questions. It's your job to ask it's your job to be upfront on the first date. I mean, here's what I find so funny. It's like people go on a first date and they ask no difficult questions. They don't ask, so, you know, how did you get here? What are you looking to do with your life? So when that happened, what led to this? I ask all this difficult shit on the first date. I ask every difficult question on the first date. Like, I remember, and it's important to do this because it's kind of like, how do I put this? It's like somebody the way most people deal with first dates, it's almost like somebody walking into the store and saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm not interested in repair. I was just kind of coming by, you know, just because, just for the hell of it, to just walk in. Like, we would all look at that person like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We don't sell anything. It's a repair store. Do you need a repair? No. Then go out and stop wasting my air conditioning. I mean, we wouldn't say it that way. We'd be thinking it, though. And it's, or it's like you walk into a car dealership and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm not interested in the car. I'm not even looking. It's just, for the hell of it. No, you want the car. You're going to ask the questions. You want the repair. How long does it take? How much does it cost? What is the warranty? You ask the important questions when you walk in. When you walk into a car dealership, here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I use my car for. Here's what I'm willing to spend. Blah, 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 blah. I heard that this line last year had issues with the engine failing or the transmission failing. Has that been addressed in this model? Because it's a concern for me. You ask the difficult questions, and maybe they don't answer. Maybe they give you crappy answers, but you ask questions. And it's so funny to me how on a first date, so many people, they don't ask anything. They're all like, they're just trying so hard to be something that they're not. They're trying to be on their best behavior. They're trying to hide everything about who they are in the hopes that it's like they don't ask difficult questions and they act really nice in the hopes that the other person is not going to ask them difficult questions or grill them. That's a bunch of bullshit. You don't go into a car dealership to talk about the weather. You don't walk into a repair shop to stare at the wall, and you don't go on a first date to talk about trivial bullshit. Figure out if this person is worth any of your time before you continue to waste it on them. All right. So, and with that, we will continue wicking. Yeah, we can. Continue wicking. We wick for Jessa. This wick is a little too thick for this application. And there, a no stuff pad is gone. But we don't need that pad because it's no stuff. Okay. So I have to run a jumper wire on this piece of crap board. Actually, a lot of pads on this board are no stuff. The good portion of this chip is no stuff. I don't know why they use this funny packaging. So it looks like the PPVN G3 Hot P3V3 rail goes to this. And what's under it? Okay, so this, it's funny. This is the pad that's present, and it goes to this capacitor, which looked nasty. This is the pad that's missing, so we're going to have to run a wire for you. It seems like we're only actually going to have to run one wire on this. All right. Seems like one wire and we'll be good. But the question then becomes, do I really want to waste an expensive ISL on a board that's probably unfixable? Like, I remember going out with a single mom a while ago, and people think it's crazy that I asked, well, how did it happen? And they're like, well, obviously it was sex. And I go, no, not that. Like, I mean, did you want to have a kid? No. So what led up to it? And I asked all these difficult questions. And this is on date one. Again, I've said my piece on what I think of single motherhood in many of these videos. But I'm always open to challenging myself, Not all like that, blah, blah, blah. That was not, yeah. That's a long story. It kind of is one of those things where a lot are like that. But I'm asking all these. I was asking these questions because it's important. Like, what am I here for? Am I going to go on a date with you and pretend that I'm here for something else? No, I want to figure out who you are. Are you worth my time? And you're welcome to ask me questions to figure out who I am to see if I'm worth your time. You always got to ask questions. The more difficult questions you don't ask in the beginning. A pad is gone. Yes, it's a not connected pad. The more questions you ask in the beginning, the less hell you will be in later. You gotta ask this shit always in the beginning. Man, I mean, honestly, I would, if anything, the first date, I would dig in as hard as I can, like childhood, past relationships. What are you looking for? What are your goals? What are you doing with your life? And I mean, if they have shitty answers, then I'm running away. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Shitty answers to those questions, and I'm just gone. And by shitty, I don't mean like you started off with. It's not even your circumstances, but how did you deal with your circumstances? Have you accepted your circumstances? Have you thought about yourself or your future at all? Do you have any self-knowledge? Or are you just kind of floating around, wasting oxygen? Really? But yeah, I would dig into this stuff. I have no problem asking about somebody's childhood on the first date. The only important question on the first date is, I'm not reading the rest of that. Nice try. So successful people who want to stay successful can't just swipe on Tinder and fuck. Tinder works if you're good looking. I tried it last year just for the fuck of it. I paid like $6 so that I would get unlimited swipes or whatever. And at some point, I was just swiping to everything. Like, I wasn't even looking at the picture of the profile. I think I did something between 3,000 and 5,000 swipes, and I didn't get a single swipe back. That's when I gave up and realized that you have to be good looking for online dating. Because none of that charm that's present in person that you can use is present online. So you have to rely on looks. So if you look like a 5'6" motherboard repairman, that's not going to work for you. Maybe it'll work for you. Yeah, I did something along the lines of like 3,000 swipes and 0 back. But I'm ugly, so I know it could always work for you. You never know. Is there a way to ask about someone's childhood history on Tinder? Is there a way to figure out about all their past relationships? Somebody's going to come up with an algorithm for this eventually. Like, the sooner men realize that the more sexual partners a woman has had, the more likely she is to divorce you and declare alimony. Like, once society just stops beating around the bush and accepts some of these basic statistics, then the sooner people will start looking for it. And a lot of people are going to get hurt in the meantime. I think a lot of people are going to get hurt by the court system and by alimony and by shit relationships before they start embracing the concept that you can't just fuck everything and everyone without merit and expect that there's no consequence to it, emotionally or otherwise. Oh, man. That's another part of the argument. Like, the whole thing, I've said that before, and people say, that's slut-shaming. And I always thought that was hilarious. Like, the entire concept of slut-shaming to me is just, I don't understand it on any level. Like, women are allowed to say to me with a straight face, well, you're nice, but you just don't look like my idea of a man because you're only 5'6". Like, I've had 2 different women tell me that I was not their idea of a man because of my height. So you're allowed to say that about things you're allowed to have preferences about things that I cannot control, which I think is fine, by the way. I have no problem with that, I have my preferences as well, and I don't want people to say that my preferences are invalid, which therefore means, since I believe in universality, I can't say other people's are invalid. But anyway, if someone is allowed to have a preference if somebody's allowed to have a dating preference based on something that I cannot control, then why is it that I am not allowed to have a dating preference based on something that someone can control? Like, I find that to be just ridiculous. I mean, if you want to live in a society where I'm not allowed to judge the person that I choose to date or not by the amount of sexual partners they've had, then why is it that then at the same time you would have to say, okay, that's fine, and that means that you can't judge people based on how they look? Because people don't really, to some extent, people choose how they look, to some extent they don't. Like, I can choose whether I'm in shape, I can choose whether what I wear, I can choose, deodorant and a shower and all that shit, but I could change all that shit. I'm still gonna be a midget. So, well, not a midget, but you get the idea. I'm still gonna be short. I don't want to live in a society where people are not allowed to say, I want to date somebody tall, which means that within that same society, I should be allowed to say, the statistics show that the more sexual partners you have, the more likely our relationship is not going to work. Therefore, if you've had like 30 sexual partners, I'm out of here. But you can't do that because that's slut shaming. And the thing is, I don't want the pendulum to move back in the other direction. Like, I don't want to call people that say, you're short, I don't want to date. I don't want to look at them and say, you're height shaming. Because that would just be fucking ridiculous. But that's where we are. Oh, man. Okay, so it looks like we got our jumper in place there. So we could put a new ISL on this board just for the fuck of it. But I kind of feel like that may be a waste. Hmm. It means you're entrusting your judgment to the ability of this woman to explain her whole life to you in one day. Not really. It's really more about the questions you ask. What people tell you, the thing is, there's a lot that you can tell about people just from a basic conversation. Not just based on what they say, but also based on what they don't say or what they hide or how they present things. It's really on you. Let's see. Are you going to replace the cap? I think that this cap is lovely. Let's see. Should I replace the cap? Do you think I should replace the cap? Let's see. Diode mode. Huh? Let me just mute this. Oh, business. Sometimes I forget that I actually have a business. Well, all right. Where was I here? So we go back here and do this. Oh, you can't see this thing on the screen, can you? Someone says, I'm ugly too, Lewis. I'm ugly too. It says white male in chat. Yeah, us ugly people have to stick together, man. We got to create a union. A union for the rights of the ugly. All right, so there's no short there. There's no short there. All right, let's waste an ISL. The thing is, I don't really want to waste an ISL because I can't buy this other chip that's dead. Like this thing over here, there's nothing I can do about this. This is dead, and I can't find a donor for it. So I'm going to leave this up to chat. Do you think I should waste an ISL on this or no? What do you think? Waste an ISL, waste the other chip? Let's see. I think Lewis is the kind of person who needs legal documents for the first date. Yeah, might as well start asking for that as well. Girls will make out with guys and say, that's how I kiss all my friends. I'm trying to think. There's this one woman, I think like Amanda Cerny, Amanda Cersei or something like that, where it's like boyfriend versus best friend. I don't usually watch that kind of stuff on YouTube, but that is fucking hilarious and so true. Run from shit like that. Yeah, I love that. I love that video. Like everybody, I think, falls for that when they're like 13 or 16. The sad part is some people fall for that in their 20s or 30s. Yeah. Do you have self-esteem problems? No, I'm fine with myself, man. No, let's see. Kevin Jack says waste it. All right, we're going to waste an ISL chip on this. Let's find it. It's only self-esteem issue if you care. It's only a self-esteem issue if you care. If you're broke and you say that you're broke, that doesn't mean you have a self-esteem issue. But if that stops you from going out into the world and trying to talk to people and trying to accomplish things, then it's a self-esteem issue. So, there's no problem with being honest. It's just once you've taken your honest assessment based on real-world feedback, and then you let that stop you from living your life, that it is a self-esteem issue, I would say. All right. You date an Apple employee. Would they give me schematics? I might just risk dealing with alimony to get schematics. Oh, that's a hard question. Because that's the thing, they would own a portion of my business, but the value of my business, what will it be if I don't have schematics anyway? Would I date an Apple employee? I'd whore myself out for schematics, yeah. I'd fuck a single mom if it meant that I get schematics. I would lower my standards considerably if it meant that I get schematics and board views. I'm not above that. No. If I could get, honestly, I'd whore myself out just to get this other fucking chip over here. If anybody watching has access to this chip, I will do virtually whatever you want to get one of these with programming and pre-balled. Balls for balls, I say. Balls and programming for balls and dinner. Balls and dinner for balls. Oh, man. All right. So I got to rip open this batch of ISLs that I got here. We're going to waste some ISLs. Is slut shaming actually bad, says someone. Again, it's universality. If you're going out and like laughing at people and pointing at them and doing all that shit, fine. I would say that's kind of that like people play it up. That you don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to go. You don't have to do it this. Anybody here ever see this movie Cruel Intentions? Cruel Intentions. This is one character, Sebastian, in that movie. You have to watch it to understand. The entire movie is like a fucking cartoon. It's great. Reese Witherspoon is in the movie as well. It's Cruel Intentions. Find it. Get that movie. But in the beginning of the movie, like, yeah, what Sebastian does, that's slut shaming, and that's kind of douchey. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You're going to have to go and see the movie to see what I'm talking about. And you can come back and tell me what you think of it next stream. What Sebastian does in the beginning of that movie, that's slut shaming, and that's douchey. But saying... just ascertaining how many sexual partners the person that you're going out with has had and then using that as a basis to decide whether or not you wish to pursue a long-term relationship or not, that's not shaming. That's just preferences and thinking. Oh, man. That was a movie. That was a movie. I get so much shit for liking that movie, but I think that's such a good movie. Oh. Everybody in chat should see Cruel Intentions. It's such a fake character as well. I send you a present which may help you select the OBC scenes. Well, I have a bunch of boxes that I haven't opened, so when I get to them, I will hopefully find yours. Thank you very much. I'm European, so I have no idea how tall that is. You and your metric system. Why don't you check if the short is fixed before you put on another ISL? See, this is why I do live. This is why we stream repairs, because you sometimes think and I don't. Haven't you measured your 0 ohm for the first time on mega ohm range? So it could have been something from the beginning. If it was, though, then why was the alcohol boiling off of it would be my question. I don't know if I did it on mega ohm the first time, actually. I got to scroll back in the stream and see, because I usually switch that. It's a habit for me to switch it, and sometimes I lose my habit and I forget. All right, so let's see if I still have a short on the 3-volt line. This is where my wire was soldered for it. All right, and we're gone. Short circuit is bye-bye. So this is the ISL area. Google says 510 is average in the US, 5.6 is tiny. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with not wanting to date someone who has slept around as long as you haven't slept around yourself, otherwise it's hypocritical. I don't understand why being a hypocrite there even matters. I mean, if anything, sleeping around a lot, you would know firsthand the damage that it does to your ability to have a relationship, therefore you wouldn't want it in others. It's hypocritical, but again, okay, I mean, you can, as long as you're okay with it, who cares? You know? Lewis is assuming gender. No re. You cut out that screeching now. No screeching and no screeching on my stream. Okay, let's get this ISL out of here. Figure out the orientation of this bastard. This glorious ISL, which is going to be wasted. Save the ISL. Yes, never waste. Cost. No. Waste the ISL. Waste it. Alright, we're going to waste it. And somebody donated $2 just to see me waste it. Which I think is actually less money than this ISL cost, but fuck it. Let's go for it. Dating is a long-term interviewing process. It's your responsibility and chance to learn as much about this person that is a marriage candidate. I agree. That's why I don't like when people say, they changed. No, they didn't change. You just didn't interview them enough. You didn't put effort into the interview. You can't blame the other person for not telling you that which you never asked. Just stop pretending that you asked. Oops, wrong button. Well, you can hit the button. All right, so pin 1 is in the bottom right, which means that the orientation of the chip is going to be like this. So let's get some flux under there. Let's hope that my jumper doesn't move around too much. So yeah, I'm going to go over this one more time to just try to get an even amount of solder on each pin. I don't usually decide to have solder on my pads before soldering something like this, but the reason I am now is because I have a jumper. And the jumper is going to stick up. And since the jumper sticks up, if the pads are flat, then it's going to be uneven and it's going to be sticking up on the side with the jumper. So I'm going to add a little bit of flux, like I just did. And I'm just going to hot air it a little bit. Kind of make those pads even. See, some are harder to do that to than others, particularly this one that's attached to this huge trace over there. Alcohol it and then flux it one more time and then get into it. I'm behind on chat by pages. Perfect solution, just marry a Chinese Foxconn worker. Chinese women in China don't really have any right to alimony. Marry a Foxconn worker to get schematics, you say? Yeah, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with that as a long-term life and business model. What could go wrong, man? Oh, this is going to be annoying as fuck. Okay. Louis the schematic prostitute. Indeed. Would you do a guy for schematics? No, I'm not willing to go that far with it. If they want to claim child support, tell her she should have bought the Apple. Oh, man. Okay, that's quality. That's quality. If you weren't already a mod, I would mod you for that comment alone. If I have that chip, will you do a video with the I'm with her overlay on the screen for a solid week? Am I allowed to put the I'm with... Okay, so for Chris Long, am I allowed to put the I'm with her overlay on the screen with Marine Le Pen instead of Hillary? Only if I'm allowed to do it with Marine Le Pen instead of Hillary. What is Sebastian? That's the character in the movie Cruel Intentions that is everybody's homework to watch for that first scene. Man, what a movie. This is a very large BGA to be soldering with the pads with the... Yeah, this is going to suck. Aligning this is going to suck. Let's put something on the board so it don't move. Oh, this is going to be terrible. Why am I trying to read chat while doing a BGA in the first place? What if Ruby Lewis wanted to go out with you and on the first date admitted that she's had a lot of sexual partners? Let's not get into the insanely hypothetical here. It doesn't say that you can't date them. It just says that I wouldn't marry them. You're not going to stick, are you? You're so not going to stick. Yeah, you're not going to stay in one place. Or will you? One way to find out, shall we? How you got this good at such a young age, I'm impressed. I'm not young, I'm 28. I have gray hair. Come on. Now it's in a place. No. Okay, that looks like a good space. It's going to heat and hope for the best. Let it balls, will you drop? No, I can't, I can't drop. Solder, someone solder. All right, you in place? I'll check my balls in a moment. If I can even fucking see my balls. Can I see my balls? God damn, I can't see shit. No, that's so not soldered in place. That's a joke. No. No. Needs to get slid over a little bit. Needs to get tossed to the right. Miles says it's probably the SMC. You're a bastard. You're just a bastard. Donating you rubles, you are clearly a Russian collaborator. Yes, I am. I talk to Nitrocaster. He tells me what I should be looking for in the border pair sometimes, which proves that I'm with the enemy. What else? I have to toss this up just a little bit right. Come on, left hand. Why don't you stay still for me? Ah, shit. Yeah, that looks like crap. I didn't toss it into place properly. Need steadier hand. What if she didn't tell me she has a dick? Well, that's... You know, there's actually a lot of talk about that, which is interesting. Where can we get your t-shirt merchandise? I actually got a link in the description where you can buy a t-shirt. Nitrocaster got a t-shirt recently. There's no solder on one pad. There sure isn't. That's... Okay, I can only really see a couple of... I have to look in between capacitors to check my work. It's really hard to see anything here. Yeah, I'm never going to see under the balls on this side. Actually, I can see a little bit. Barely. I don't know if you can see that very well. So there was this... so anyway, the part with saying that they have the dick. The thing there... The issue with that is I've heard it said that trans people or people should not have to tell what's going on a date, and that, or like what their gender identity is and all that, because that's transphobic, or that. And that really has pissed me off to some extent. I don't care. I'm totally okay with gays and lesbians and bisexuals and transsexuals and the other 50,000 genders. Whatever you are, live life, enjoy life. Shop at the same store as I do. Shop at the same businesses. Enjoy. Get married. Be happy. Have all the same rights. I'm all for all of that. But as soon as you start mentioning stuff like I shouldn't have to tell you that what my gender is or any of that, or that's transphobic, if you don't like the fact that I have a dick and I don't tell you it even when I clearly look like a woman, that's a little fucked up. That's a little fucked up. It really kind of hurts the cause. And it's like one of the very few areas where I dare say that I don't really mind or criticize social justice, because I don't really give a fuck what people do in their own bedrooms. But when it gets to that point, then yeah, I'm not for that at all. So it looks like my balls are good. So I've spent a good amount of time examining my balls here. Thank you to Alexi. You keep saying wrong button. So not much for me to respond to there, but I appreciate your $2. Can't see balls, Chris Christie. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So we got a nice, beautiful ISL there. So at this point, I could plug it in and kind of see what I get. I could poke around, see what happens, see if anything goes on fire. But you see how hard it is to examine the balls, because there's all this tall stuff around it. Like, I can't see over this very well. This is a crowded little cluster. So I'm kind of looking at my balls through this section over here. It's really hard for me to see my balls. It's as hard as it would be for Chris Christie. Damn it, man. Watch your buttons, says Zylar. Thank you. This is a really Chris Christie-ish board here. I mean, examining the balls into the ISL is fairly difficult. You saw how to kind of keep looking around to find a space where when I tilt the board, I can see what everything under that chip looks like. See? It's being blocked by everything around it. Very big pain in the ass. Pain in the balls. Very small chip, too. A lot of stuff in a very small space. So this is the end of my Q-tip. This is a Q-tip. See the Q-tip? See the size of the chip? Q-tip versus chip. Like, this is huge. Huge. This is, like... Do you record how you clean the boards? Yeah, Crest Ultrasonic Cleaner. We also sell them. Got to plug in the stuff every now and then. If the girl is hot enough, a conventionally attractive female, I consider not minding if she had a dick. I'm not going to judge you for that one bit. All I'm saying is that if they have a dick, probably should mention that, like really early on, so that you can make that decision for yourself. Man, what your preference has nothing to do with me. Just don't force a preference on me, is what I would say. The same way that I wouldn't force a preference on somebody else. One of your... I own Russian Mosin Nagant's army rifle, which proves Lewis is with the enemy because you are because I'm Lewis's mod. Yeah, now there's so many connections there, man. Just you got to stop. CNN's gonna come after me. I love your philosophy videos, and your video about obesity really moved it and inspired me to eat more healthy. So thank you for that. I'm glad. You are sexist when you are turned off by trans... Yeah. You're describing Tumblr, says T-Rose. That's a website that I've genuinely never been to. Typed it into my browser. I've heard so much about it over the past 6 years. Oh, man. That feeling when you need a microscope to examine balls. Yep. Maybe I should put that on my Tinder profile. I need a microscope to examine my balls. I should make a Tinder profile and put that in it right now. I just don't want to pay $10 again. I think that's a great idea. What do you think? Like, I make a Tinder profile today and I use a microscope to examine my balls. I can't do worse than last time, right? Like 3,000 swipes, 0 reply. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to do that. I think that would be good. That's going to get trolled so hard, though. You believe at this point Trump's election was directly tied to Russia? It seems like common sense now with Don Jr. email. No, that's still a pile of shit. The entire email is like a music producer decided to try and introduce him to an attorney that then met with him and then tried to talk to him about this sanction where, like, there was a sanction that America placed on Russia, and then in response, Russia made it more difficult for Americans to adopt Russian babies. And then he decides, yeah, I don't want to deal with this shit, and he walks away. And now people are saying that he colluded with Russia? What? Why? Why? I mean, that's like saying, that's almost on the level of, let's say, Nitrocaster. Let's say that some random person introduces me to Nitrocaster. And Nitrocaster says, hey, I got information that you really need to know on Apple stuff. I got some stuff you really need to know, man. And it's really important. And then I decide to fly over to Russia to meet with Nitrocaster. And then Nitrocaster looks at me and says, yeah, I just wanted some... if you want to know stuff about Apple, you should know that they use field programmable gate arrays. But besides that, so what I really wanted to know is I have this job interview coming up with NVIDIA, and I really want to know what I should say to ACID. So what should I say? And then I say, Nitrocaster, I just flew all the way here to Russia to have a conversation about job interviews? What the hell? And then I fly back to America, and then everybody in America says, Lewis colluded Apple. I mean, like, that's the political version of Russia to a competitor, and you reply, okay, I love it. Is that not evidence? It's opposition research. I mean... Don Jr. said that. It's what she said in the meeting. But that's like, it's opposition research. It's common. Like, what about Hillary trying to use? What about the DNC trying to use the fact that of what Bernie's religion was in certain areas of the United States where they knew that it was going to piss people off? That's the shit that's actually fucked up. And the thing is, if there was actual information that was handed out during that meeting, why wasn't it used over the course of the campaign? Like, Donald Trump literally brought a group of women that Bill Clinton allegedly raped. Who am I kidding, allegedly? Bill Clinton is a rapist. But Bill Clinton raped to the room at the debate and had them sitting there, like, staring at Bill Clinton. Like, this was a fucking vicious campaign. They brought out all this nasty shit. And you're saying that there's something that he learns in the meeting that he didn't use? No. There was nothing came of it. There was nothing there. I mean, there are so many reasons to hate Trump. There's a lot of shit there. Like, here's what I would say. Stop focusing on this Russia shit. How about when he was on Fox News and he said, no, the key is we need to take out the terrorists and their families. And the Fox host is like, what? And he goes, yeah, we have to take out their families. We need to take out their families. You could easily use that to say that Trump is a terrorist. Not this like whole, oh, he emailed somebody that then he met with that then told him something about something else that then never led to anything. Like, fuck all that. If you, like, there's so many good reasons to dislike Trump. You could write an encyclopedia. I mean, he was a Manhattan landlord. If that's not the lowest form of human scum, I don't know what is. There's so much good shit that you could just dig into to say that he sucks. And we're still focusing on this bullshit. Like, why? Why? I mean... what about the candidate that was primarily funded by Saudi Arabia? I mean, like, what about the fact that the opponent had all these donations to a foundation, and as soon as she left the State Department, those donations just went off to almost nothing? That's not colluding, but this is. Yeah, like, call him a terrorist. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. You could write a 500-page book of stupid shit or reasons that he is a bad candidate. This is not one of them. I would still be focused on the terrorist shit. I would still be focusing on the terrorist shit. Like, this is the stuff that pisses me off. And this is I remember when there was this one thing where they were saying, how do you respond to the fact that he calls you Crooked Hillary? And she's just like, well, we're above that. She doesn't say. She could say so many things. She could say, she could explain why she took the donation. She could explain why a speech is worth $200,000. She could explain why all of those donations just rattled off and dropped by something like 50 or 90% as soon as she left the State Department. But she doesn't. She just goes, "Oh, I'm above that." So not only does she not defend herself, but she doesn't go on the offensive. As soon as they say, "So how do you respond to them calling you Crooked Hillary?" I would have came out swinging like, "This motherfucker's a terrorist. He said on live television, I want to kill the families of criminals." You don't, that's what ISIS does. ISIS kills innocent people for no reason. Donald Trump is ISIS. Like, you could have said all this shit, and what do you say? Russia, stop. Did you see Dwayne Johnson going to run for president in 2020? That's going to be bad. Because the reason it's going to be bad is because he's going to win, even if he doesn't have a platform. I mean, he's so good looking. I mean, like, I say this as a straight man. Like, Dwayne Johnson's one of the best looking men on earth, the most charismatic men on earth. The smile, I mean, his teeth were sculpted by God himself. It's just ridiculous. He's going to get every woman in the United States to vote for him just like that. I don't even blame him. Probably half of the men. I mean, you know, he doesn't have to have a platform. He could virtue signal for 2 years straight, just straight up virtue signal, and get 90% of the vote. If he runs, he's winning. He's gonna win. Collusion spotted, says T-Rose. All right, time to plug in the charger. Let's see what I get on some of these rails. Under Obama, the military killed thousands of innocent people. It sure did. And he dropped over 25,000 bombs in 2016. And he got a Nobel Peace Prize for it. There's a lot of pieces of crap. Do you believe in life after love? I don't believe in that, and I don't believe in share. Okay. Let's see. Does that chip blow up that I just put on the board? Okay, so I plugged in a charger and the chip has not blown up. Oh shit. Somebody fly to Russia and get me out of here. Well, there you go. Collusion fucking confirmed, man. Collusion Nitrocaster, when's your NVIDIA interview? All right, so let's check some voltages here and see if we get anything. Back to our regular story. Where are you at with the repair? This repair is sadly hopeless. This is a hopeless repair. The input fuse is... Wait, we plugged in? We are plugged in. And we are at 0.1011 volts. Which means I put my ISL on incorrectly, or it's bad, or it wants this chip to be here to talk to it, or that other chip on the bottom of the board that I forgot to put back on. I suppose I should put that chip that was on the bottom of the board back on. Almost forgot about that thing. Let's see. So there's this thing over here. This has got to go back. Yeah, I should have put that thing back on. All right, let's put that back on. The Rock versus Trump for U.S. Championship. Yeah, this is just turning into TV. But, I mean, like, Trump is fucked if Dwayne Johnson runs. He really is. Trump is beyond fucked if Dwayne Johnson runs. Nobody that good looking has ever run for president. I think Louis Rossmann is colluded with Russia to break down Apple, and all these boards are fake to make us think Apple products are shit. Yep. They provide me with all this stuff. Okay. Okay, where is that chip? Gee, what side am I on? Shit. I'm looking for the big coil. Where is the big coil? Am I losing it? Am I looking at the right space? Wait. Oh, you dumbass. There you go. Yeah, you fucking idiot. You had it around the wrong. I had it the wrong way. Okay. So I need this chip. Pin 1 is going to be the upper right. U4700 is... what? What is U4700? U4700 is SLG 4AP 645AV. Ay. I'm pretty sure I bought that one, since that was shorted on my other board. Here we go. Got a whole set. Mike Olson's is $10. Thank you to Miles Olson. Okay. This. Put it in there. Okay, let's grab a chip. Hero says I wanted to contribute to the colors above chat. Why, thank you. I also have to figure out how to fit your banner in there. I saw the banner that you sent me. I have to. So this is not. Is this the right orientation? No, that's the opposite of the right orientation. The dot has to be on the bottom right. Okay. Why do you look so underexposed? Come on, we need some more exposure. Give me a Vice TV level of exposure. There we go. Let's turn on the hot air. What photos did you use on your Tinder profile? Let me move this so I can see. They sucked. That's why you got no matches. I don't remember what pictures I used, but I used a few, and they represented what I look like. It's not like I'm photoshopping myself or any of that silly crap. Jeez. Hell if I'm photoshopping myself for Tinder. Do you believe in life after... Stop trying to turn me into Cher. That's not cool. I am not Cher. My hands are killing me. It's about time to call it. Yeah, my hand is not listening to my brain, so it's about time to get out of here. Come back another day. Let's take a look at the solder joints here. Alright, so it is soldered on there. That's probably the last chip I'm going to replace on this for today. Let's just tidy this up a little bit. let's hope it's not getting out of proportions. I mean, I say this as a conservative. When I heard Trump say that on a news outlet, like, that people are going to listen to, we have to kill their families, I just listened to this going, wondering, how is he getting out of this? How is he getting out of this? There's no way you're getting out of this. You said that. And it's amazing. The way he got out of it is everybody was focused on all this other shit that just didn't matter. That's how he got out of it. That's how you can say, I am for killing innocent people on live television and totally get away with it. JFK? No, JFK wasn't as good looking as Dwayne Johnson. Rossman eats mobile chips for breakfast. That would explain the handshake. So let's plug this thing in again. Let's check our voltage. See what we get on input. And we get 1. But it's pulsing. Kevin funded $1.02. Thank you. So you gave me $1 and then you gave me your 2 cents. So it appears that we now have a pulsing issue. Could it be the bad ISL? Could it be a poorly soldered ISL? Could it be that this chip is needed and required for this to work? Who knows? It could be any one of a number of things. Or could it be let's see if there's a short to ground. Let's unplug this. Pretty sure that I fucked up the soldering of that ISL. I have a feeling that I fucked up the soldering of that ISL. How about CNN reserving the right to release that poor memer's name? Oh, that poor fuck. That poor fuck. The problem is that he posted a bunch of nasty, disgusting shit, but he posted all that in a group on Reddit that's designed, the name of it is disgusting shit. The whole point of that group is to post disgusting shit. And he did, and now he's in trouble for it. You gotta be careful. So there's no short to ground there. So we have one of 2 hypotheses at this point. Behind door number 1, I soldered on my ISL like garbage. Behind door number 2, my ISL is soldered improperly. I mean, my ISL is bad. Behind door number 3, this chip that does communication with the charger is, let's see if that does actually do communication with the charger, is necessary for this to actually work. Don't you go trashing Teddy Roosevelt? Way more attractive than Dwayne Johnson. Nah, I'd say Dwayne Johnson's more attractive than him. No. Lewis is making more from donations than repairs this week. Sadly. At least on camera. Alright, so the chip that I removed is this U4600. Let's just go back and see what U4600 is for. Do you matter? U4600. U4600 is going to talk to the chip that BC 1.2 detector. So that's the bullshit charger detector. I'm guessing. U5680, what do you do? Do you matter? Wow, what a bad schematic. You don't show up anywhere but here. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's try that again. U4680. Oh my god. U4680. Next. Wow, you're not there. What kind of fucking horseshit is that? Alright, let's search by the chip name. Let's search by the chip name itself. Okay, U4780, not U5680. Wow, Apple, thanks for the typo. Thanks for that major fucking typo of 2 very important numbers, you stupid fucks. Alright. How the fuck does this shit get released? Like, I guess I shouldn't be too mad. I'm getting this better than nothing, which is what we get with the touch bars. So this is going to be the chip that talks and figures out if we have a bullshit charger. See? Bullshit charger detection. Bullshit charger detection. So this tells me if we have a real charger plugged in. And that's going to talk to U4600 on a data line. And this is missing, which means it's not going to be able to talk to the bullshit charger detection. So I probably really need this chip. I have a feeling that U4600 matters and that U4600 being shorted to ground is important. However, and this is an important one here, this is an important one, if this chip mattered, then wouldn't if I need this to get 5 volts, right, and I'm not getting 5 volts now, shouldn't I have not been getting 5 volts before because this chip was shorted to ground? So if this chip was shorted to ground, let's go over this for a minute. If this chip was shorted to ground and this chip was necessary to get 5 volts on my charger rail, then I would not have been getting 5 volts anyway, and the reason for that would be because that chip was shorted to ground and dead. So I removed the chip that's dead, and since I removed the chip that's dead, that should not change how the machine was functioning, because that chip had no ability to function to begin with because it wasn't even getting power. So U4600 could never have been working. U4600 over here could never have been working. Let me just find... Yeah. So this chip over here, U4600, which I removed, could not be influencing what the charger's doing right now because it's powered off of a rail that wasn't present because that rail was shorted to ground. So that means that it has to be either a bad ISL or bad soldering because I suck. One or the other. So let's be honest with ourselves here. And again, this goes back to what I said before about self-confidence versus honesty. Let's just be honest. The soldering of that ISL was total dog shit. And just go back to it, revisit it, and repeal that ISL. Because I probably fucked up the soldering of that ISL, or there was a bad chip. So we're going to remove that, hopefully get a different result. So let's find our ISL chip, which is down here. I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to try to remove it straight up as quickly as possible and as neatly as possible so that I can see what the solder balls under it look like. If they're shorting together, then that explains a lot. Okay. And Terry's couldn't believe when Cher released that music. Yeah, I don't want to have Cher stuck in my head. Please, please, you should put an ISL as your Tinder photo. That's a good idea. BlackBerry would be a better Tinder profile pic, probably. Our IC is vegan. Good question. Okay, let's just go with my theory that I fucked up my soldering of the ISL, which is the most likely, if I'm being honest with myself. Again, honesty and self-confidence are very different things. You can still have self-esteem while being honest. Bullshit chart. U4600 controls enabling stuff like VBus FET. Yeah, but U4600 would have never been turning on. That's my assertion. So my theory is that I remove this. It's either the ISL or this. One of those things is affecting my charger. But this was never working because it never had 3.3 volts to begin with. So this chip might as well have not even been on the board because it was never getting 3.3 volts because this chip was shorting that voltage rail to ground along with the ISL. If it was never receiving power, it would have never been turning on. Could always be wrong, but that's my theory. It's always your shit soldering. Yep, and that too. It's usually my shit soldering. So let's remove this. Probably shittily soldered chip. I was soldering this while ranting on alimony and single moms, so you'll have to excuse my soldering there. But it would have probably been shitty soldering anyway, so you actually don't have to excuse my soldering because it would have been bad. Rehot that ISL first. Alright, I will rehot, bro. I will rehot for you. Rehot. Hot. Repeal and replace like your love life. Dance, bitch, dance. Alright. The chip has danced. So now after that, we're going to plug it in, see if anything changes, but most likely it needs to be repealed and replaced. How much are you charging this person? Not enough. Not enough. U4600 was never shorted. Lies. You have video evidence of the alcohol evaporating right over the chip. God damn you, 3D Fix. How do you deny things like seeing... How do you deny watching the alcohol clearly evaporate over the chip faster than it evaporated off of every other chip? That I don't understand. Yes, U4600 is never shorted. Yes, and Bill Clinton did nothing wrong. Yep, yep, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go away, you little bastard. Five volts. Okay, so my ISL was soldered on a little fucked up. Solder bridge above the chip on cap and resistor. What? Solder bridge above the chip between cap and resistor. Fake news. Fake news. Faker than CNN. Alright, so input is there. You get 5 volts. So let's see, did we get the 3 volt rail? No, we don't. We get the 5 volt rail. Yes, okay, we got the PP bus. Do we have view? Nope. This board is a monumental asshole. I hate these new 12-inch machines. Two ceramics are soldered together left high over chip. Oh, you're talking about this. Well, let's see. Are those soldered together? Maybe not fake news after all? Are they okay, let's unplug power and see. Is that just... That could be sperm or that could be a short. Let's see. Place your bets. Are those shorts or sperm? It is. Okay. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies, gentlemen, everything in between from the arguments going on in the chat. Don't want to offend nobody. Damn, how am I even going to fit my probes in here to measure this without them touching one another? Let's see. Top of the capacitor, top of the resistor. We have 26 million ohms between the two. So top of the capacitor, top of the resistor, 27 million ohms. Fake news! That's just sperm. No, come on. How many of these videos have you seen to not be able to mistake the sperm that's on all these motherboards with a solder joint? Oh, you're being silly. You're all being silly. It's just spooge. Spooge is common here. Let's just remove some of that spooge. Can I fit the tweezer in there? No, I can't because the microscope is in the way. Yeah, see, that's just spooge. It's just a little bit of dick lint. It's, you know, it's nothing to go crazy about. This is just junk. It's gone now. It's beautiful. Okay. A little bit of spooge over there. Sometimes sperm is conductive, someone says. Hi. Poor shit. Okay, where is that 3.3 volt line I was looking at? It's not there, and it's not shorted either. So let's see, where is that line going to come from anyway? What's going to create that? Let's turn off this noisy stuff and think. All right, so where do you come from? Got to get a second monitor here for chat. You know what sucks is this graphics card only has one display port out. I didn't notice that when I bought it, so I may be getting myself another one. So I want to be able to attach my other 4K screen and use that as for chat. That would be a lot more convenient. Got to find myself a good GPU that has 2 display ports on it. All right, so what's going to create this rail? No. No. That's it powering something. That's it powering something. That's it powering something. That's it. So you come out of the ISL? Panzerfin says ISL. P-bus supply and battery charger. Good luck finding a data sheet for this. Ah, so this is an LDO output on the top, similar to... Okay. Well, there's no short to ground on that. We measured that earlier. Well, what's going to be needed here? So we're going to need... What's this going to need to turn on? Charger PPDCN G3 hot from adapter, and that's... Whoa. What did you do there? Ah. Wrong button. Okay. From adapter. Where are the... Oh, so from fuse. So I should be able to measure you on pin 1 of R4750. R4750. And don't touch the metal on the side for bonus points. 5 volts. PPDC in is coming in there. I would check the output cap too. Always on rails should always be enabled when it gets input power. Alright, let's look. So output cap for the 3.3 volt rail around the ISL. So the output cap for that rail is going to be C7104. C7104 is up here. Let's take a look at that. Down here. That would be this one. I have no problem with that cap. It looks fine to me. As you can see, the... Okay. Oh, why am I yawning? .011. Let's see. What would we need here? Do we need charger AC in? Probably. Let's pretend that this is an older machine. So on the older machines, charger AC in has to be present in order to get SMC BCAC OK. But that's not what we get here. The charging circuit, well, all the stuff in what would be called the one-wire circuit on an older machine, on this machine, is powered by PP3V3, whatever. So what if we need charger AC in to be a certain voltage before PP3V3 R3VO comes on? Let me check on pin 2 of R7110. So if I go to R7110 and I check on pin 2, well, interesting, I get close to nothing. Let's see, what do I get on pin 1? I get 5. All right, so either R7110 is no good, or my ISL is shorting charger AC into ground because it's not good. And I'm pretty sure that that's the ISL shorting that to ground. So let's just unplug this for a moment here. Chillax. Go into resistance mode and see. Person funded $1.23. Why, thank you, a person. As you can see, there's a 1 ohm short to ground right over here on charger ACN, which means either my ISL is bad or this cap is bad. So C7111. Let's see, where's C7111? C7111 is this thing right over here. This is a beautiful capacitor. I don't see what... I can't understand that this capacitor is shorted to ground. It looks beautiful to me. It looks pretty. It looks nice. It's a nice little capacitor. I can't imagine blaming this for anything. Most likely I did a shitty job of soldering my ISL, or the ISL is bad. But since I'm going to have to heat that area to remove the ISL anyway, I don't see where the harm would be in removing that capacitor before removing the ISL. So I'm going to remove that capacitor. And just to show you what I'm talking about, let's just go over to a different board over here that has a more traditional one-wire circuit. So the way this works is, this is the ISL circuit on an older board. Let's just go over this. So on the older board, we have a circuit called the one-wire circuit up here that's going to allow the charger to talk to the SMC, which allows the charger to be used, and you get a green light and it turns on and all that good stuff, right? That circuit is going to, this adapter sense line will talk to the SMC on the sys1 line only if this chip gets 3.4 volts. This chip only gets 3.4 volts if this chip up here decides to give it 3.4 volts. This chip will decide to give this chip, which allows the SMC to talk to the charger, 3.4 volts if it gets SMC, BC, ACOK. SMC, BC, ACOK shows up when SMC, BC, ACOK and charger ACOK are the same signal here. So charger ACOK is going to show up only when charger ACN is high at around 3 or 4 volts. Charger ACN comes from the charger having this voltage divider right on the charger that turns the 16 volts into something like 4. And in this schematic, you'll see very much the same thing. Charger ACN needs to be high. Now, charger ACN is not high because either the cap is shorted to ground, or more likely because the U7100 is dead or poorly soldered by the idiot sitting in the chair that you've wasted 2 hours listening to. So I'm going to remove the cap first, and it's most likely not going to be the cap. I'm going to remove the cap and fool myself into believing that that cap is why it's shorted to ground, but when it's most likely my U7100. So what my theory is that charger ACN needs to be present in order to get PP3V3 REVO out, because this is kind of like the SM, actually never mind, that theory goes to shit because this actually does have an SMC BC ACOK on it. Never mind all that shit, it's probably my ISL. I'm an idiot, and ignore everything I've had to say. So let's put this board down where I can easily remove the ISL, which I'm still going to remove the capacitor first just in case. Just for my, you never know. I mean, I do know. We know. Well, no, fuck it. I'm not going to remove the. I'm going to remove the ISL first. I know it's the ISL. Okay. Thanks for sharing content. Have a burrito on me. Thank you to Ohm. Appreciate that. I hate this piece of shit.
Fourth short?
Huh?
Fourth short?
No, it's the... I hate this board. I soldered on the ISL, but I think I fucked up soldering on the ISL, so we redo it. I'm not sure. Hopefully not the $35 they were when I first looked for that chip. I doubt that they're still that expensive. Let's see. Sleep it off, go back tomorrow. Pygmy Pony says hi. Zircon encrusted tweezers say hi. It's always important that your tweezers are made of zircon. Cat food donation. Thank you. So, Riker RC. I gotta get a bigger screen for that. Okay, you know what would really help me with this board repair is if I had a set of zircon encrusted tweezers. That would solve every problem. Heat is on. Jesus Christ, come off the board. Are you even heating? Do you even heat, bro? Alright, removed. Let's try to do this a little bit more evenly this time. Pygmy pony, pygmy pony. Zircon encrusted burritos. Delivered by a pygmy pony. Move the cap first. Wow, someone's mad. Alright. It was, as you can see, it was not the capacitor to blame. Because the short on charger AC is gone as soon as the ISL is removed. See, as I said, it's always important to be honest with yourself. Okay. Pygmy pony. Between this, Share, and NSYNC, I've had the worst week for bad music being stuck in my head. The worst week ever for bad music being stuck in my head. I'm surprised how many people recognize that. Oh, man. Is there a pin missing? Yes, but it's not connected. If you look at the board view, you'll see that that does not go to anything, so it doesn't matter. That pin does not matter. Not all pins matter. Not all pads matter. Ah. This resistor nobody cares about. It's connected just fine. See? Beautiful connection. Huge connection. Someone says, do you know that the 2017 Macs won't let you boot to USB recovery media anymore? Even though you're a mod, and even though I dislike a lot of what Apple does with their customers, I still won't believe that without actually researching it first. Because that just seems like a stretch. I just don't think that they hate their customers that much. Like, I know that Apple thinks they can get away with any sort of murder, but I don't think even Apple would do that. I don't think they hate their customers that much. Not yet. I could be wrong, and I'm always open to being wrong. But I don't think they hate their customers that much. I just find that hard to believe. I'm open to it, but I find it difficult to believe. Okay, another ISIL. Another ISIL. Let's get another ISL whatever chip. I call them ISILs. That's how I feel about this at the moment. Pick up this chip. Turn this little ISIL around, and then we're going to burn the ISIL onto the board. Take this little ISIL and just going to get... Do you usually work with music playing? Only the music that's playing in my head, along with the voices. I'm kind of thinking of going over to the larger nozzle for my iron. Okay. I don't want to heat this ISIL chip with just the regular iron. I want to heat this ISIL chip with the larger tip. Show ISIL who's boss. I'm not going to get beat by no 12-inch MacBook. Okay, got a nice new nozzle secured on here. Now, to align this properly, and pray that it stays. Yeah, this is a bitch. You're gonna move, aren't you? Oh, you're so gonna move. Look, you're trying. Yeah, you're gonna move around. Yeah, I gotta solder the pads. If I'm gonna have that jumper there, then I gotta put some more even solder on all the pads there. No way around it. So I'm gonna just try and put a little even amount of solder on each one of those pads, because my wire is going to keep the chip pushed up on the left side if I don't. You know what? I think I'd actually get more even balls if I stopped using a micro pencil. I don't think the micro pencil has the thermal mass required on the pads that attach to main power lines to create a properly even ball. It can't deliver energy into those because the thermal mass of the board is absorbing too much of the energy from my iron. So let's try with a more powerful iron. And Seek, that's a great question for Nitrocaster, whatever you're asking about resolution there. Alright, so this should be a little better suited. Let's see how this does at tinning. Don't spam my chat, mofo. Thank you to Anseek. Yeah, this iron's too a little big for this. The micro pencil can't handle the man of your balls. That's what you should put on your Tinder, says someone. This is about as close as we're going to get here. And there's actually one ball that's larger than the others here. Gotta get you, bastard. Can't have you tipping things. Ugh. Bastard. There's one in the middle that's still sticking up. Yeah. This bastard over here. Someone said they call fake news on the USB recovery thing mentioned earlier. Again, I find it hard to believe Apple hates their customers that much. Come on. Come out of the syringe. Good flux. Spread around my chip. Pretty balls. Pretty chip. Usually what I would do in a situation like this is hold it, heat it, and then flow it into place once I know that it's in the right place. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this without my hand shaking to the point where it moves where it's not supposed to. So if I had a functioning nervous system, I would hold the chip like this and heat it, and then once it was down on the board, heat it again without my hand there. But this is not happening. How much is Tinder paying you? What? Tinder doesn't pay me shit. Yeah. This is a job for somebody with a functioning nervous system and brain. Come on. Lewis, if you could meet with Tim Cook and talk to him directly about the state of the repair industry, would you? I mean, does he really care? No, I doubt he cares. The only argument I would have is that people would, if you made more repairable products, then you could be seen more seriously in the professional world, and you can also advertise based on it, and put the nail in the coffin of so many other companies. But I genuinely don't think he cares, and I don't think they have any reason to, honestly. That's not aligned. Who am I kidding? It's not supposed to be that close to the damn cat. Yeah, what the hell? No. You fucker. Why do you need that stupid jumper? The person in the factory doesn't have to do this because he doesn't have to have a jumper going under it. That's too far to the left. That's a little too Antifa-ish for me. Okay, it needs to go a little to the right. That's a little, slid too far to the right. That's a little too Geert Wilders for me. Come on, give me a nice centrist chip position. Why can't you just rest in the middle where I need you to? Grr. This is probably not something I should be doing today. One of the balls is missing. It sure is, and tell me why I don't care. Tell me why I don't give a fuck about that pad that's missing. Okay. Hey, we will come back to this another day. This is sad. This is sad. Alright, hands are saying it's time to go. So, I will try putting on an ISL. I will put on an ISL on this when I'm better equipped to. Let's see what this looks like, though, out of curiosity. It looks kind of nice. I can't say I'm mad at those balls at all. Yeah, the chip is nice. All right, table flip. Thank you all for watching, and you probably learned nothing, but actually you learned a lot of what not to do. I'm sure you all learned a lot of what not to do. But yeah, time to get out of here. So I'll see you next time. I'm going to go on to do something else with my day, and that's about it. The board wins. Board wins.